What's going on, traders? Welcome to my stream. Today is the weekend, and we are finally doing a recap of what has happened most of the week today. Last week was a pretty much a short week. We had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There was no Monday. Memorial Day. There was a Memorial Day weekend of 3 days. I was hoping we're gonna get a lot of momentum on Monday. Sadly, that didn't happen. I made some adjustments to my office here. It was a little bit uncomfortable the way I had it before, and I got my nice laptop, my two screens, my big table, and my pretty much everything. Further ado, so on Thursday I had a huge gain. The huge gain was SBET. The stock went berserker actually. I bought it at like 35 and it actually ended up going up to like 120. It was something ridiculous. But we're gonna go over that and discuss. Actually, that was the biggest. That was the biggest hold that I ever had. Um, so we got the data for the webinar. You can see that on my top left there, I have pretty much all the stocks that I did trade that day and my losses and my greatest gains, and we're gonna go through all of that. I like to talk first about my wins, I guess. That's pretty much the most exciting thing. In this situation, we had FAAS, so we're gonna try to make my win a little lower. But FAS is a pretty much a simple setup here. Let's see if we can try to get reels out of this. So we'll see how small I can get it. So FAS is a pretty much a day two continuation. So what I've been noticing in the market responds very well to day two continuations with news. So if you had a stock that performed really well one day and then the next day you show up, this ticker and it breaks yesterday's high, this ticker has performed really, really, really well. In this situation, I was buying it. You can see yesterday's high was around 83. I was alerting it and buying it in the chat room at around 90, 83-ish. And I pretty much said in the chat room it was a day two continuation. Soon enough, the stock spiked to like 150, and that was pretty much a big gain. I mean, that was like 83 to 148. That's ridiculous. The next ticker I actually trade. Let's see the next ticker. You can see I had SBET there, and SBET ended up going that day on Tuesday, ended up going berserker. So let's see where SBET is. No, that's not, that's DGLY. Where is SBET? There it is. So SBET in the morning, I saw it as I woke up around 7. I saw it as we came back to over 10. I actually bought that dip at 10 and sold it at 11.50, and then SBET ended up doing something berserker. I think that day, SBET that day ended up going to, I don't know how high that day. That was on Tuesday. So it was this day over here, right about here, and actually it was craziness over here because this ticker pretty much went to like 12, and in like two candles it went from like 11 to 23, something outrageous. I never seen a big 1 minute candle like this, but it was pretty much a short seller's nightmare. And pretty much hit 34. That pretty much, I think I panicked when I saw something like this because I never seen such a big spike from 11 to 34 in two 1 minute candles. So it pretty much consolidated, and I didn't think much about it. But here you had a nice breakout point at like 24. Nice, really nice textbook wedge pattern. And I should have bought it at 24. I did not. Ended up going to 36. And then over here we had a high. We had a high, and over here we had another, nice wedge pattern at 36. It went up to 50 from 36, actually 54, before pretty much just coming back down. So multiple opportunities. I was buying in the morning. I was shocked. I should have bought it again, and I should have bought it again. Pretty much outrageous. And then we gave a third opportunity here. We came into VWAP. We had a 10% bounce over here to 42. And that's about it. That's what SBET did most of the day that day. There wasn't really any other opportunities, but it hit 52. Outrageous how this ticker has performed. I only traded it in the morning, as you can see here, my PNL. Where's my PNL? Over here. Right about here. So I only traded it. I traded SBET, I traded IMMN, and I traded LVWR. LVWR right here. Let's see. This LVWR was I traded in the aftermarket, I think. I was buying it like over here somewhere, and I think I traded in the aftermarket because I did see this one going up from like 260 up to like 450. So I traded this in the aftermarket. But you can see that I had some problems. Like you can see I had, there's a bunch of problems going on here, like FAS, ALUR, and NVTS. And a lot of stocks pop on my radar. Um, and um, and these stocks tend to just spike up really quick in like 1 minute or 5 minutes or 7 minutes. And if you're not quick enough on your speed keys, these tickers just go straight up on an algo spike and then pretty much come back down. And some of you pretty much chase these tickers. Hopefully you did not. Or if you did chase these tickers, you ended up chasing them with a very small size. But some of these companies release really decent news, and then sadly, it comes back down like 180. So I'm going to discuss those a couple of times. You can see how JFBR, we had a nice 1 minute breakout of right about here, opening range breakout, 105 on like 750, and immediately rejection. This is the official launch of Ford AI-based pest control app. So they pretty much launched an app and pretty much immediate rejection. We had another ticker, which is DVS. DVS, like I speak. Hold on, we're gonna go into Tuesday a bit. There we go. So I was speaking here about JFBR. You can see a pop, come back down, a consolidation around $1, 105, and in this situation, we should have went to like 180 based on this news, but we did not. We got smoked right back down. And this is DVS. Like I explain a day two continuation type move whenever it breaks yesterday high of 72. In this situation, we did not break yesterday's high of 72. I kind of chased some, and then got stopped out. I got overexcited about this play. You can see we rejected 72.29 by the dot, and then pretty much came back down. So, and then we had a couple of other tickers. Let me see which were the bad tickers. You can see CETX. This is at the open pop and drop. So CETX, we just open up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles, 180 to 280, and immediate rejection. And I think that was also on news. So we've been seeing a lot of pops and drops lately, and these are very dangerous. Like also you have another pop and drop. No, that's the 29th. So, the stocks that I did make money on the 27th, you can see, so my PNL here were IMMN, SBET, and LVWR. So IMMM, the FAS, where is FAS? FAS is over here. I don't know how I lost money on this one. I should have been green on this one. I must have toyed with it at the open. So the tickers that I did buy is the 27th. So it was this is an 82. This is a day two continuation. I bought, and then I ended up, it actually tanked at the open. So this is another example of a day two continuation. We break 83 in the pre-market. We spike up to 150. And then you have Works. It breaks the yesterday's a pre-market after-market highs, and then we spike up to 88. It only gave like, I don't know, 10%. That was pathetic. So, you know, the tickers I did make money on, there were plenty. You can see, so they were like four opportunity. It was IMMN, it was SBED, it was LVWR, and then it was FAS. So technically there were three tickers I made money, and DGLY, that was an overnight. I kind of got. So, but you know, there's a lot of you can see there's a lot of risk on the table because you just don't know. Like, you know, sometimes like in the pre-market, if I don't have like a setup, like a day two continuation, or it breaks yesterday's high, or something, or some breakout point, these companies really release some news, they pop it, and then they drop it. And same thing with devs. It didn't break yesterday's high, but we popped yesterday's high and we dumped. And I'm going to show you another one, like CETX release news and comes back down. So we've seen a lot of stocks that do not hold their gains. You can see SLXN here. You buy it at like 130, and then you think it's just gonna go, and then it just dumps. So lots of dangers. We had a lot of pops and drops this week, and I just stopped trading them. That's to tell you the truth because they're just damaging to my account. But we have seen here. So the money that I did make money on was IMNN, which is right here. Where is that? Right here. It was a day two continuation because it broke 140, and then I was chasing it to 150, and then I sold it over here. It actually hit 250. So that was a good setup. That was IMMM. The next setup that I made money on was SBED in the morning, and then LVWR in the aftermarket, and then FAS. I made money on FAS over here. It was day two continuation here. And then I was buying at 85 and I sold too soon, and then I got chopped out. So, you know, you can see that Monday I came out on top, but there was a lot of tickers in which I got caught in my other account with small size on these tickers, and it was just a little bit discouraging for me to trade something like this. It were you know, you have to be very careful with these pops and drops. They release news and they end up not holding, and you're kind of just, you know, if you're fast enough to make money in a half a minute, you can, but most of you are not. So if you cannot make money in half a minute or a few seconds, you might as well just avoid them because they're just damaging. So IMM day two continuation, SBED, you know, breaks the what is it, yesterday aftermarket high, works, breaks yesterday aftermarket highs, FAS day two continuation, CTX popped and dropped, you know, LVWR we break the intraday highs, and then we pretty much ran here from 260 to like 4. And then DGLY, I was long this one. I had good feelings it's going to consolidate and go. And FAS day two continuation. So you just got to be mindful of the traps, you know, like the pops and drops, the day two continuation that was not successful, and you know, the intraday news and dump. Very very volatile this week for sure. Like another pop and drop right over here. So, you know, just be very mindful of these things. We're gonna move on to Wednesday. Wednesday, where's Wednesday? So this is the 27th. Let's see. This is right. This is SBED. I did good on SBED. 27th, 27th, 27th. Okay. This is SBED. So this was, I'm sorry. So this was on Tuesday. You can see that I actually was trading SBED over here. I was trading at this one and I gave plenty of breakout points over there. I already talked about that. So moving on to Wednesday. Wednesday. over here. So you can see like this is like my trades for my other account. You can see most of my profits. I actually locked in DGLY because I had that overnight, and then SGN, LVWR, PLZR. So Wednesday was actually a pretty good green day. You can see that most of them are green. So LVWR actually bought this higher high at around like 390, and I sold into the resistance over here. This ticker was somewhat in a channel. You can see that this is the channel over here from here to here. So I bought it when it had a higher high at 390. It sold at 360. That was LVWR. Made around a 15% gain. You had SGN, another ticker. Where is SGN? The 28th rate. SGN. There you go, SGN. So SGN does another. So this is a breakout play. You can see this is. So I do day two continuations and I do breakout plays. You can see so that SGN was a breakout play, and you can see in this scenario that we broke yesterday's high of 116 with news, and I was buying it at 116, and then this ticker hit $4. You can see how how easy it is to make money when you find something like this. Is what I called a home run trade. When it breaks yesterday high over here, 116, and then it pretty much just goes to freaking, I don't know, to freaking over here. Ridiculous. 427. I'm not sure what the news was, but that's a pretty healthy ticker. Let's see. I traded SGN. I traded 126 to 177. Such a wussy. I traded it way. I pretty much just didn't hold to my position that much. Sadly, I should have held on to this position, but it was just 2 minutes of work, and I'm up 20%. I was very happy. We had LVWR. We had SGN. We had PLRZ. This is I was very active on Wednesday. This is so you have day two continuation, a breakout play. In this scenario, you had a first green day bounce, breaks yesterday's high over $1, and shoots to 150. That was a huge opportunity here. I actually sold it at 120 most of it, but you can see so in this scenario that it didn't really. That this is a second opportunity. A ARAI was also a first green day bounce, but this didn't perform that well. Came back down chopping. This one I was buying it and I dumped it. I actually panicked. Actually, I actually hit my emergency panic button over here when we dumped there. So not all of them are gonna be working. In this scenario, PLRZ had a first green day bounce, made 50% from $1. SGN, amazing, a breakout play. This is not like this is a breakout play. We break 112. It's over there. So the tickers that I'm actually excited about are actually day two continuations and like breakout plays. Those are like the tickers and first green day bounce right here in PLRZ. Those are really the tickers that I make money on. Other than that, you had ASBP. ASBP, we just came up here. I was very active on this one, but this is an extremely choppy ticker. I ended up only making like 10% on ASBP. Let me see. So that was the 28th. I made money on ASBP. Made money on PLRZ. That was a huge gain. I actually made 37% on PLRZ. LVWR, I made 10%. SGN, I made 20%. I mean, and DGLY, I made a total of 20%. So most of them I made between 10 to 20%. And then I have SPRO, I made 5%. Was SPRO was a VWAP bounce. SPRO, there is a the 28th right here. So SPRO was a ticker that had news. Float was a little high, around 40 million. We pop up. there was a couple of traders that took it long a couple times, like 150, and it hit $3. I only took it long when it came to VWAP 220, and it just bounced 240. So I only made like 20 cents. Um, so SPRO. Then we had SGBX. SGBX, I was actually sometimes when you wake up at 4 a.m., which I have, you can see. So where is it? SGBX. So I woke up. So let's talk about Wednesday. So I wake up each day around. I try not to trade before 7, but sometimes I wake up at 4 a.m. because I'm in Europe and there's nothing else to do. Actually, in Europe is about, I don't know, 4 a.m. is about noon or 1 or 2 or whatever you want to call it, or 10. So for me, it's pretty easy watching stocks at around 10 a.m. So in this situation, I saw this ticker SG. Let me see, where was it? This ticker SGBX, and I actually had long some because I was just buying it as it broke yesterday's high of, I don't know, was it 95 or 90 or something? I was buying right here. I don't know, broke yesterday's high. That's kind of like how I was buying it. I sold it for like 20% here. Then I saw it go up to like 350. Jesus Christ, at like four in the morning. This was ridiculous. And then I actually bought the VWAP bounce at around 4:30 at 167, and then it bounced to 2. Insane range on this. I thought they were going to hold it and we're going to go up higher, but I think that wasn't the case. I actually took a loss, took a big loss on this ticker because I didn't buy enough, and then I held my VWAP bounce too much. But initially I was green on it. So let's see. SGN, LVWR, PLRZ, ASBP, SPRO. Okay. So now we're gonna talk about like, what like I do have problems. Like, there's certain problems like this one. Whenever a stock, you see Xena, for example, a stock breaks $3 and then you buy the VWAP bounce and you get dumped on. Like sometimes you get shit like this that happens. Oh, this is why I recommend max loss or, having a panic button. I didn't really alert this one, but I have this trade. This is like the worst trade of the day. Um, Works, I was buying this one 75 and I sold it. So we're on the 27th, right? On the 27th? Was that a Tuesday? No, we gotta go on a Wednesday. Gotta go on a Wednesday. Sorry, we're on the 28th. This is the Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday. So we had LVWR, SPRO, SGN. So that's 3 tickers. Then we have PLRZ. We had a humongous amount of tickers, almost 5 tickers here. And even Array did a first green day bounce. And then we had ASBP running in the aftermarket. So on Wednesday, it was ridiculously amount of opportunity. We had 4 movers intraday and 1 runner aftermarket. 4 movers like PLRZ first green day bounce, SGN day 2 continuation, SPRO fresh news, LVWR higher high. So 2 day 2 continuations and 1 fresh news and 1 first green day bounce. Amazing opportunity. And ASPN, that this is an aftermarket runner. We had, and then this is where it gets tricky. Like you can see that, like I teach very well the opportunities that I teach, but sadly these opportunities, they don't really happen all the time. And this is what I call boredom trades. Like boredom trades, like, if you're a little bit impulsive and you have a need to, grow your account without proper education and you're just impatient, you're gonna give in to temptation. And you can see so that, SGD here, we spike up to $2 and you're like, oh, let me buy the dip, and ended up selling. Like, and this, these tickers have news. and they do a complete 180 on you. This is why, if it doesn't hold half its spike, it needs to keep going, multiple spikes in a row. Like, it's not enough to just go, it needs to go up multiple spikes. So I haven't really. So if you see a stock going straight up, like it doubled or it tripled, and then it comes back more than half its candle, just be very mindful that this ticker is going to sell off. Like same this one. Like at 5 a.m., GTI popped up, and then you just 14 to like 23, and then sell off. And then another an NAOV. Day two continuation. I buy 150. I don't sell 180. It comes back down. But I noticed that because I took a flat trade on NAOV, and then I bought PLRZ, which is another day two continuation. Then I sold the breakout. So and this one I was buying it around 6 a.m. and it just went freaking nowhere. So there's definitely challenges. And then see the sad part about, over trading, like when you're over trading tickers that free fall out of the sky, you'll have a very, what is it called? You won't have as much patience with tickers that work. So this is an example of ticker that worked, that I took it long on, was it Wednesday? 20, no, that was the 29th. So we're still on Wednesday. Okay, we got to move on to Thursday. Sorry about that. I was talking about Thursday. Okay, there we go. So now we're on Thursday. My bad. I gotta change the theme of the story. So Thursdays. There we go. Thursday. Sorry. So I was talking about Thursday. So we finished Wednesday. Wednesday there was 4 opportunities and an aftermarket runner, and lots of pops and drops. And Monday there were pops and drops, and then Thursday. Okay, Thursday. Moving on to Thursday, you can see that my greatest move here was SBET. SBET was my greatest move so far because I pretty much just held. Um, you know, a lot of my opportunities, a lot of my swings, like I try to hold on as much as possible. I love holding and buying 52-week breakouts or daily breakouts or continuation plays. I love buying them and holding them for longer than most. The problem is that these pops and drops have been, messing with my mind a bit because I've been trading them and they keep dumping on me, and I have a hard time holding, for longer the meat of the move. So in this situation, SBET, I just held. I put a, I pretty much got chopped out on like 3 tickers that popped and dropped, and then I put a, flat stop on SBET, and I just left. That's kind of like what my strategy is. And this strategy worked out really well because SBET ended up going to, I don't know if you see this, ended up going to $100 on Thursday. I was just buying it as because it broke, same thing. Buying it as it broke yesterday's high of 32. It pretty much held. I bought it eventually at 38 and then pretty much just went straight up to like 105. I sold most of them at like 70. Then I let it go. That's pretty much how I did. HBIO, this was another ticker that I saw. I really liked the, you can see, so I really liked the daily. Daily to me it was breaking 40. The next resistance was 67. I ended up buying it like 51. Was chopping around a bit, and then I pretty much like in this dip here, it scared the crap out of me. And then I even ended up selling it at like 60 prematurely. I had some traders in the chat room that held this ticker and they sold into the 90s or 70s or somewhere like that, but it pretty much exceeded my expectation. So you can see that is there was GTI, NAOV, and ZIO. GTI on the 29th, right? GTI, another pop and drop, and NAOV. I actually made money on that. PLRZ, I made money on that. HTCR, I actually lost on this ticker. GTI, and it was ZIO. What's ZIO at? Zero HTCR HBU. So my only two trades on Thursday were pretty much a very nice daily breakout, and then SBET I just held. Those are like kind of like my strategies here. Um, that pretty much how I proceeded this day. There weren't really like there was a lot of danger. Like there's a lot of danger in these small caps because these ticker just pop on like algo news and then they sell off. Then some of you some of you are very very some of you hold on and sometimes your position just gets cut in half. So whenever you see a stock with fresh news that spikes up really fast, it's just not all of them are gonna go straight up. The majority of them will just do something like this, like GTI, like SGD. I mean, there's no knowing really which one is gonna go unless the chart proves it's gonna go. So let's see the 29th, right? So you can see that I did have like almost like three losses there, and they were just being stupid. Where's NAOV? There we go, somewhere over there. GTI, PLRZ. So yeah, so my problem has been lately over trading. Primarily, this primarily primarily my problem for this week has been over trading because these ticker have been popping and dropping, and my scanner really picks up, you know, um, really picks up, everything almost. When I see it move, I get excited of what could happen. Then I jump in and then I get dumped on. So I stopped doing that. I'm just gonna wait more and hopefully that won't happen. Last week, like if I look at the last week data, everything broke pre-market highs and kept going. This week on Monday, our pre-market gappers started selling. On Friday, our pre-market gappers started selling, and I think on Thursday too, the pre-market gappers started selling. So we had about 3 days out of 4, 3 days. I think all of them. I think most of them. So most of them this week, our pre-market gappers started selling, and the only thing was working was first green day bounce, day two continuation. One of them had fresh news, and I didn't really short anything because I didn't really see the maybe I should have shorted these what's it called these 3 out of 4 days where all the gappers sold off at open. But we're definitely in different market than we were last week. Last week everything was going, everything was gapping and going and going and going, gapping, going, going, going. This week a lot of tickers have been just gapping and selling, 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 gapping and selling, selling, selling. And the only thing was really working were stocks that were active the next day, the day before, and then it broke yesterday's high. So it was definitely a different animal than it was yesterday. A lot of traders come to me and they ask me like, you know, I really like the way you trade. You buy day twos, buy, breakouts, you buy whatever downtrend breaks, you buy a higher high, and then I'm like, yes, yes, yes. But that is just what worked this week. Next week, maybe something else is going to work because, last week if I look at the data of last week, stocks were gapping up and going, 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 going. This week, stocks were gapping up and selling, 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 selling. So you have to really adapt and you have to really be mindful that the market can change at any time. This is like I had a dream, like what is it called? It's called making profits out of the market is like trying to catch an iguana. An iguana, you know what an iguana is? Iguana is, show you what an iguana is. Iguana. Iguana is shape shifting. This is what is an iguana is. So think of the market as an iguana. Right here, you can see it. This is an iguana. Um, pet iguanas right here. This is an iguana right here. So this is an iguana. So this is kind of like the market. What you're trying to do. These animals tend to change shape and change their colors based on their surroundings. So this is kind of like, so I had a dream like I was trying to catch an iguana, and I was catching it and not catching it, catching it and not catching it. And as soon as I saw it, it moved. And then as soon as I grabbed it, it changed. So, think of the market as an iguana. Like it's constantly the market is changing. And the reason why I have a Discord room is because I let you know live what am I seeing in the market and how can we take advantage of what we're seeing in the market. A lot of traders want to look at my videos that are like a week old of what happened last week, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen this week. Just because it worked last week doesn't mean it's going to work this week. This week we saw the absolute opposite of what we saw last week, and you need to recognize that and not really, be, take a step back, do it as long as it's working. And when it's not working, you have to use proper risk management and max loss per day or max loss per week or max loss per account, and then stop trading because eventually what works. This is why trading is hard because eventually what works is going to stop working. Like this is what you're dealing with. This is the market. It changes. Is it's an animal that changes its colors based on their surroundings. So if it's a red market, you're gonna have a red iguana. If it's a black market, you're gonna have a green iguana. So we're gonna continue talking about. So you can see so that on Thursday there were a couple of tickers. Like you can see, so HBIO, I was long and I sold it too soon. And the reason I sold it too soon is because a lot of these gappers just ended up not working. And I was just a little bit hesitant. We had some pre-market gappers that sold off here. We had SGD at 4 o'clock in the morning just popped and dumped. So the way I have been able to combat this is I try not to trade stocks with fresh news and try to let stocks prove to me that they're worthy for me to trade them because a lot of these tickers will do something like this. This is what happened on Thursday. This is what happened on Friday. You can see I only have two tickers that I traded. You have at 7 o'clock a.m. in two 1 minute candles, the stock went from 450 to 10. And then you might wonder, like, how do I trade these? I mean, are you fast enough on your speed keys to trade these? Um, I can be. Like right now, I move my setup over here, so it will pretty much get me to use my speed keys and my hotkeys faster over here because I was not really fast enough for these tickers. So, and I have a direct LAN connection. Let's see if we can pretty much show you my office here. This is kind of like my office over here. So, so what I'm trying to get you guys to see is that, you have to be mindful that you have to be really fast. Like, are you able to profit from this setup? In 1 minute, you see it on the scanner, and then it pretty much go to 10. If you're not, if you're not fast enough, you have an empty back. These are, normal opportunities in trading, and if you're good with them, you can make money. If you're bad with them, they can be devastating. Or you might just take it on the backside short. That's primarily what I should have done, to tell you the truth. I should have primarily just shorted it. But you can see, and there was a couple of other ones. BSLK, we come up to 480 right at 4 a.m. We've bounced, and then instead of shorting it and holding it, I pretty much think is just going to be a great ticker to trade. I could have shorted some fours, cover some threes. This is a very nice, awesome pattern, but I was a little bit scared. I was just buying the base. I bought the base over here somewhere, and then I sold it. This is kind of like the only trade I really did. But you can see the base and resistance. So I traded that one into 4 a.m. So it's it's just difficult. The only two opportunity I really did see over here was IMNN. This is also a 52-week breakout. Breaks 235, 240, and then I actually bought 240 and I sold like 280, and I don't know, 30, 40 cents a share. That's a good deal to me. And then you have TIRX. So here we got another problem. Like a lot of these tickers at the open, they were selling off. And if I bought it at 3 and sold the dip, it would get dumped on. So a lot of these tickers were selling at the open. Like another ticker here, VIVK. Are you fast enough to trade VIVK? $1 in 1 minute, and if you don't trade it, you're just gonna get dumped on you. Are you fast enough to trade T? Uh, Actually, this is you don't need to be that fast. I am honestly not that fast. Are you fast enough to trade BLRX? Straight up and a dump. Are you fast enough to trade this one? VIVK up to like $2 and no. I prefer, having a backside of the move. Like as soon as you see them not holding VWAP, might as well short them. So you can see so that I do have two big winners here. On Friday, my two big winners were BSLK, no, IMMN, which is breaks yesterday high of 230. We run to 280. That's great. And then you can see that my other ticker were IMMN LVWR. Where is this ticker? Because I don't think I got the screenshot of it. LVWR. 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 Same thing. We break yesterday's high of 370. I actually ended up chasing it around $4. And from $4, we went to 5. From here to here, there was a tremendous amount of opportunity. 20%. This is a stable 20% profit. This is a very nice setup. I ended up making money on this setup. I have to actually save it and put it in a database. This is on Friday, which is the 30th. May 30th. May 30th. Sorry. May 30th, 25, 6. So that's kind of like the week here. I mean, I've been green most of the week, most of the days, but primarily you have to avoid the pop and drops a lot, and you have to avoid trading before 7, because if you wake up like I have from 4 to 7, just you're gonna get burned out. Like I already, day trading is very stressful and hard enough. I don't really last more than 3 hours in intense work. And if you add on top of it pre-market trading before 7 a.m. and trade at 4, if you add on top aftermarket trading after 4 p.m., you're just gonna be in a big pile of hurt. To tell you the truth, trading is not really easy. So that's about it. Each day I was pretty much green, but there was a lot of pops and drops that you might want to stay away from. Like as soon as you see a stock that has news, in the pre-market, um, a lot of them have just been popping and dropping, and it's just they're very destructive for the account. Maybe, the way I advise to treat these times in which we have lots of pops and drops is to wait until after 9 a.m. and then, trade after that, because a very small probability of stocks is going to pop, and then not hold half its gains in the first couple of candles. That's really what I recommend you guys to do. This is just, you're just gonna be throwing money down the toilet if you're not fast enough. If you're fast enough, you can make a lot of money. And if you're short on these pop and drops, you can make a lot of money. Hope I answered everybody's questions. Make sure you click a like right now. I am on YouTube jail, and I'm posting right now on my YouTube clips. So make sure you pretty much subscribe to this channel. Just Google YouTube Unusual Day Trader clips and subscribe to this channel. I've been on YouTube jail, so I can't post for two weeks for some unknown reason. But I'll see you guys in my next video. Hope you guys enjoyed my presentation, and see you all later. Peace out.